ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the
DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Midday Market Report. Good friend and colleague, Mr. Nick Hathcoat back. Life gets busy as I've been spanning the globe doing food truck festivals all across the nation and locally, and BC home football games. It's so good to be back. Myself and Nick will be here every Friday till the end of the year. Mark your calendars, 11 a.m. to talk some college football. Mr. Hathcoat on quite the heater the last 2 weeks, coming off 18-4. If you've been following him, you've made yourself some big coin. USA, Europe, Ryder Cup, if it was a heavyweight fight, I think they'd stop it by now. USA already down 0-3 and only up 1 right now, as we need some help at BetPage. You go down 0-4 here, guys. Getting into the afternoon match, those 2-footers turn into 20-footers in the afternoon, so an ugly start for the USA. The only thing worse is the coverage. Let me tell you, USA, NBC, Peak, or whatever, you guys have been putrid. Shame on you. As I was talking to good friend, Mr. Dr. Lance, he's like, I can't watch it. I'm having a hard time following it. I says, you haven't missed anything. The only thing worse than the USA play is the coverage. Shame on whoever's covering it. It's been putrid. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download the app. It is free. AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Steaks, seafood, chops, appetizers, wine. Terry Smith has it all. Introduce yourself on Facebook to Terry Smith. Then come on back to AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Place an order today. You could be grilling as early as Monday. Headliner today, Notre Dame season on the line again. Anyone that was here last year remembers myself and Nick doing shows after they stumbled in week 2 and then they ran the gamut and got in. Big game today tomorrow, at Matt Grissom's Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas fumbled its way to a loss at Memphis last week, so a tough spot for both teams, but let's bring him in. Mr. Nick Hathcoat. What's up, Nick?
Morning, Jeff. How's it going?
It's going well. Let's say a lot better than the USA Ryder Cup of golf at this point. Here, congrats on an amazing heater. Your eyes are laser sharp. It must feel good. Week 5 in the NCAA to be on a heater like this.
Yeah, it feels great. Obviously, it's one of those things. As you know, you've been in the sports gambling world for a long time. They don't last forever. The market kind of corrects itself, and everybody kind of comes back to earth. I mean, if I was this good all the time, I'd be on a beach somewhere and you'd never hear from me again. It's just one of those things. I mean, on the season, I'm 42-17 and already up 22.35 units. and through 4 weeks. That's about as good as you can ask for. So definitely seeing the board well right now. And we'll kind of get into it. I don't have, at least as of right now, I don't have as many plays this week as I have the last two. And it seems like, and maybe this is just me personally, but it feels like a little dangerous week. Everybody sees the board and all these fantastic games and everything, which is awesome. It's great for college football in general, not necessarily great for the betting community. I also feel like everybody has kind of played like that one conference game, and you can kind of go overboard of whether it's, you can look at how bad Illinois looked and just assume, oh my gosh, Illinois is just awful. Or you can go and look at how good Oregon has looked. But who has Oregon played that is impressive at all? I think Oregon's is like 0-9 combined, like their opponents on the season. So it's quick. This is an easy week to kind of overestimate what you think of these teams. So it's like, give me a couple more data points now that these teams are getting the real conference play.
Well, as I said in the intro, tough spot for Notre Dame with Arkansas, slipping at Memphis there. We'll get into that game, of course. And you brought up Illinois. Illinois, the darling of football. I think they were ranked as high as number 9. That line last week, when I have a head scratcher, I was kind of surprised at the opening number, and then it went 4.5, 5.5, 6.5. It might even close at 7, 7.5. And of course, Indiana just throttles Illinois. But again, another perfect spot. USC comes in, one of the best quarterbacks currently in the country, traveling west to Midwest, middle of the country, I should say. 6.5 point favorites. I almost want to say, for me, right now, as we sit at 11:13 on Friday the 26th, for me, right now, it's Illinois and nothing in that game.
Yeah, this is a complete stay away for me. I've hit the USC team total the last 2 weeks. I just can't do it with this travel spot. And you mentioned Illinois, and like I said, I need more data points. Like Illinois is not as good as number 9, but they're also not as bad as they played against Indiana. I think they're somewhere in that kind of middle ground. USC didn't look fantastic against Michigan State. Now, Michigan State, I think, is better than a lot of teams think as well. That quarterback's actually playing well, not turning the ball over. So they've been impressive. And I get coaches kind of complaining about scheduling, but USC has a right to this week. And I get his point. They played the latest game in the country, started at 10 p.m. Eastern time last Saturday, and now they're being forced to play a 10 a.m. Eastern time game this week. So it's like, that's a tough travel spot. They basically got maybe 2 or 3 days of practice before traveling yesterday. So yeah, it's a tough spot. This is a complete stay away for me. I have the over as my kind of lean. I think, but it's just too high now. I think it's up to 59.5 last I saw. So that's a bit high because I don't know, does this Illinois offense rebound? Does this USC offense travel? Because we saw it wasn't fantastic against Purdue, who we saw Notre Dame just run all over last week. So this is a complete stay away. Like I mentioned, I might say data point like 10 times on this show today, but this is a really good one, I think, for both teams, and kind of a good bar to set of what these two teams are going to be moving forward.
Deja vu, as I said in the intro, we were here last year, and I hate to bring this up again, a nice opening win at A&M for Notre Dame, come back home 28.5 point underdogs, and Northern Illinois shocks the world and wins outright. Yet every game after that was a must win. And not only did you win that and get into the playoffs, you got to the championship game. This year, the schedule a little tougher. 2 tough losses. And I, to be honest with you, I had your Notre Dame team total over last week. I was on A&M the week before. You had a tough loss opening week as well. You got 2 losses. 3 losses will not butter the biscuit here. Arkansas stumbles again. I talked about the headline. Diehard Notre Dame fan, take us through the early rough starts, the problems, and initially what you're thinking for Saturday.
Yeah, this is a complete different team than last year. Last year's team was obviously carried by the defense, and the offense just had to, if they got into the mid-20s, chances are they were going to win. But they also obviously led the country in winning margin last year. This year, I think they're going to have to do close to the same. They have a bad, which I get over the country just because they're 1-2, but also they're hitting an extra point away from beating A&M 2 weeks ago. I think if you look at this Miami team now, and everybody's saying Miami is the best well-rounded team in the country, which they very might be. Notre Dame was right in that game the entire time. CJ Carr has been impressive. He was the one I was most worried about coming into the year. Obviously, starting a freshman quarterback. He's been very good. The issue is just the defense in the secondary, which doesn't get much help this week. Obviously, with Arkansas throwing the ball all over the place, they've been great. Taylon Green has been awesome. I think he's leading the country in QBR right now, which is not his thing. Like, he was such like a runner kind of coming from Boise to Arkansas. Last year, he depended on his legs a lot. This year, his arm looks great. Obviously, he's still running. He's almost ran for 400 yards this season already. Big issue, Leonard Moore, who's going to be the number one corner in the country, going to be the number one taken in the draft next year, is questionable with his ankle sprain that he sustained against A&M. Didn't play last week, so we'll see if he plays. I took the over early. As soon as this thing came out Sunday, it opened at 58.5. And even I didn't get that because it got hit so hard. I got it at 61.5, and now I think it's at 64.5, and still kind of right. It's kind of sat at 64.5, I believe, the last couple of days. I think I don't know how many people watched that Arkansas-Memphis game, but Arkansas tackling is atrocious. And Notre Dame, you have the two, like I said, the best duo of running backs in the country. Jadarian Price last week touched the ball 10 times and scored 4 touchdowns. Jeremiah Love obviously gets all the headlines everybody knows about. These two running backs are ranked number 2 and number 5 in PFF as running backs in the country. I don't know how Arkansas stops them, but also I think Arkansas gets their fair share of points as well. I played the over 61.5. I also might take the Notre Dame team total over 34.5, and just do both that way because as a Notre Dame fan, it's hard for me to believe this Notre Dame defense is going to be this bad all year long. Chris Ash is getting so much flack for being the new defensive coordinator. Something has to change. Like he's a better coach than he's shown. And also, does Marcus Freeman kind of being a defensive guy himself? When does he kind of step in and whether it's take full control of the defense, kind of figure some things out, work half and half with Chris Ash. So maybe if this is the week that Notre Dame, the defense steps up, that kind of worries me for the total. So I might take this Notre Dame team total because, like you mentioned last year, and we'll go back to your headline of this is do or die for Notre Dame now. I love this offense. Last year we saw them run it up on teams because they needed style points. After losing that game against Northern Illinois, they needed to show that they're one of the best teams in the country. This could be one of these where we just take Notre Dame team total the rest of the season, every game, and just kind of ride it out. I do, like I said, I have the over 61.5. And I'm also leaning with Notre Dame team total over 34.5. The line has been coming down. If it hits 3, I'm hammering Notre Dame. I don't see how they lose this game. Is it a tough place to play at Arkansas? Yes. But also, how invested is this fan base anymore after getting beat by Memphis last week? They're 2-2. They seem to be out on the coach. They want him out. And I've seen some fans, whether it's message boards, whether it's Matt Grissom saying, is it actually better if we lose this game or if we win this game? Because if we win this game, then we know we're riding the whole season out with the coach. But if we lose this game, maybe he only makes it through halfway through the season or after this weekend. So I do trust Notre Dame to get the win here. If not, then we're have to have a serious talk because if they lose this game, it means they probably gave up 40 to Arkansas.
And I'm looking at the team totals. I got four resources right here. The consensus is 34.5. There is a 35.5 for Notre Dame. Arkansas at 28.5 and 29.5. Again, I had Arkansas's team total over last week, and again, the fumble late cost us there. Almost like this setup reminds me of Arkansas at Memphis, and in comes now Notre Dame at Arkansas. I might stick with the Arkansas team total because I think they're going to roll the ball out. First one to 37 wins this game. I think it's a shootout, like you said, at the OK Corral.
Yeah, that is very possible. I don't hate that. I was actually looked at Arkansas team total was the first thing I looked at. I was hoping it would get to 27.5, but it never did. And like I said, my fear is there's way too much talent on this Notre Dame defense to continuously be this bad. And so it is just one of those things. I am worried if I'd be worried if I took the Arkansas team total, it was like this is the week where it's like coming off an easy Purdue game where it's like, okay, this is like, hey, let's kick it into gear for the rest of the season.
So many headliner games, 3 great games on Friday. Before we get to your selections this week here, between I got to ask you your honest thought here. I got the backdrop of purple. It actually matches your top today. I don't. It's just me right now. Again, I don't understand the Ole Miss LSU number. Am I drinking the Kool-Aid?
So this is a weird one. I played early. I grabbed Sunday. I played LSU money line at plus 106. Most of the reason I grabbed it is because I thought this would completely turn the other way. Like I thought the public and money was going to heavily be on LSU, and I could at least get some good like kind of big and value out of it later in the week. I think it's gone up to the money line. I think it maybe touched minus 110 at one point, and now it's back to like plus 100, plus 105 at a lot of books. So it hasn't gone like I expected. I don't love this. I will go ahead and say I picked LSU. This is one that I'm gonna I plan to do more research on still. I keep looking into it all week. A lot of people are on both sides of it. This might be one, just to be honest, I might buy out of this just because I don't love this spot. I might end up just taking Ole Miss money line, buy out of it, just go even. But this is one of those things. Which coach do you trust? I want to say that I trust Kiffin more at home. And also Trinidad Chambliss has been great, who's going to be starting. Obviously the transfer coming in. He's been great, but I also can't get over them struggling to beat Kentucky. And then if they didn't force a fumble against Arkansas, they lose that Arkansas game. Like, yes, they looked great against Tulane last week. But I don't know what to fully think of this Ole Miss. This is not an Ole Miss defense of the past couple of years either. This defensive line is awful. And LSU's biggest kind of weakness is their run game. You know what's great to help a run game is a bad defensive line. Garrett Nussmeier is not fully healthy. I think he's got I don't think it's like an oblique issue. Might be something he just has to deal with the entire season. So this isn't one I love. Like I said, I might buy out of it right now. Like my position on it is I do have LSU money line at plus 106. But yeah, there's nothing I truly love in this game from either side.
You know, I talked a lot about this game yesterday, and I don't know what your preseason thoughts were on Arizona State, but I do know a couple of weeks ago they came in big favorites at Mississippi State and got run off the field the first half, tried to make an effort to come back in the second half.
Should have won, should have won that game. If there wasn't that, basically that touchdown with 20 seconds left, I think everybody would be looking at that a lot different.
No Cam Scatterbo, no problem here. And now Mississippi State, 6.5 point dogs at home against the Vols. And my point here is looking at the Mississippi State defense and what they've done. Yeah, they played some cupcakes, but Arizona State's no slouch here. Big, tough, maybe bounce back spot here for the Vols here. Your initial thoughts on the Vols and Mississippi State?
Yeah, I want this. I don't think we're going to get it. I want this to get to 7. I think I would take Tennessee at 7. I think they're just that much better. I'm still not a huge believer in Mississippi State. They've been the defense, yes, has been great, but Heupel will figure out ways. I mean, they had UAB last week, and that was basically just a practice session coming off of Georgia. This offense, and people can say what they want, but this offense has been fantastic. I don't know if Georgia's defense is not your typical Georgia defense, but it's also not as bad as Tennessee made it look either. So I really do trust this Tennessee team more than I do Mississippi State. It's also an afternoon game, so it's not like it's not the crazy night game atmosphere that we saw against Arizona State, like you mentioned, that first week of the season. I think if I had to play here, I haven't played anything yet, but I think if it gets to 7, I might have a look at Tennessee. I also don't hate it as a parlay piece either.
Last, before we get to your in-pocket plays already, and of course you can go follow Nick Hathcoat on X. You can follow him at the NCAA Insiders, of course, as well. And I'm going to say this, I read the market. I'm a respect the opening number. Let's see where the shops and the public take it. Whiteout, Happy Valley, Penn State. That line opened up in my eyes at 3.5 for a reason. It seems like the whole world's taken the hook in Oregon at plus the 3.5. Traveling cross country, whiteout here. For me, just me reading the market, it's Penn State or nothing. Thoughts on Penn State and the Ducks?
Yeah, you kind of said it all right there. Opened at 3.5. A lot of people are on Oregon, and it's stuck at 3.5. That tells you exactly what the books kind of think of this game. I know it touched 3 either yesterday or 2 days ago, and it lasted about 30 seconds. I think some big source out there hit it quickly. Yeah, I think even though all this money and everything is going on the Oregon side, I think the books are trying to. It's one of those lines where I would actually. It's crazy to think. I would feel a lot better about Oregon if it was like plus 2.5. It's one of those where it's like the books are telling you like, hey, like we really like Penn State here. Keep putting money on Oregon. We're not moving this line. I mean like at least what I have projected set at is this home state whiteout is actually worth 3.8 points. Is kind of how I have it, which means these teams are even on a neutral, which is kind of how I see it. Kind of some fun stats. Ever since they started the whiteout, Penn State is 15-6 against the spread at home, and I believe it's either 6 straight or 8 straight that they covered in this whiteout. I'm glad, just for college football's sake, that Fox did this right and actually gave one of these big games a night game and stopped with the whole like the big games have to be at noon just because that's our Fox big like coverage. So this game's meant to be at night. It's also Dante Moore he's got a lot of experience. He's not a freshman. He traveled a lot when he played for UCLA. So I don't think he will be spooked by this atmosphere. The difference is a lot of the surrounding pieces are very young. 2 starting freshmen, obviously probably the best freshman in the country. And then you've got like kind of the offensive line is a little bit young. So I'm kind of worried that way. But also, I don't know how much, whether it's Aller or James Franklin, these big games, it's hard to trust. And at this point, everybody's saying, oh, like Penn State this year is supposed to get these receivers. And it's like, oh my gosh, Penn State's going to finally have these awesome receivers. They haven't shown it yet, and like they have one of the worst schedules in the country so far. And it's like maybe at some point we need to look and say, you know what? Maybe it's not the receivers. Maybe it's the guy throwing them the ball for the last 3 years. Like it's not. There is that the common denominator there has been Drew Aller. But yeah, this is a stay away for me and just enjoy and watch. The one thing I have written down that I might play. I don't hate the Oregon team total over. It's only 23.5. And we saw these two big teams. Like we saw these teams. Obviously, it was a neutral site for the Big Ten championship game last year, but I mean it was a shootout last year. And Oregon's offenses look great. The only thing that scares me away is has Penn State been playing possum the first 3 weeks? Like obviously they were never worried about losing. They had the 2 best coordinators in the sport, kind of as a duo. Kotelnicki will kind of figure stuff out on offense. Obviously, they paid big. He's still the defensive coordinator from Ohio State. I think they will be fine. I don't know. This is one of those where it's like if you look at the whole season so far, you would think Oregon's a better team. But like I said, I don't know if this is one of those where Penn State has just slept walking and playing possum for the first 3 weeks and now is going to turn into the team that a lot will pick as their national championship coming into the year.
I agree. I'm going to put up here initially, and then you can walk us through. Knicks, let me see here. NCAA Nuggets, Notre Dame, Arkansas, over 61.5. LSU money line, plus 106. Indiana team total, over 27.5, minus 125. Auburn, Texas A&M, over 51.5, minus 110. A money line parlay, Indiana and Air Force at plus 105. Bama, Georgia over 52.5, and BYU team total over 26.5 minus 118. Stage is yours, sir.
Yeah, let's start with, we kind of already touched the first 2, the Notre Dame, Arkansas over, and we touched the LSU money line. So next we go to Indiana team total over 27.5. And I get a lot of people are going to look at this and kind of shiver because it's at Kinnick, it's Iowa on the road, tough place to play. This isn't your normal Iowa defense, though. They just gave up over 400 yards to Rutgers last week. So I think Indiana is going to score here. And it's only 4 touchdowns to a team that just put up 60 on Illinois, whose defense, I think Illinois' defense is better than Iowa's defense. And I also think this is another thing. Signetti wants to run it up and prove a point. And he did it last year. And then obviously all the talk coming into this year is like, oh, I wonder who's going to be this season's Indiana. And it's like, well, why can't Indiana be this season's Indiana? And I think he took that and they are running with it. I think Fernando Mendoza is better than Curtis Rourke last year they had at quarterback. Obviously, I don't think it's a huge overreaction by the market to think he's the favorite for the Heisman. Like, I think that's ridiculous. Unless Indiana somehow runs the table, they end up beating Ohio State later in the season, beat Michigan. Like, maybe then it's possible. I think if you bet him, you're kind of just throwing your money away. But yeah, I don't trust Iowa's offense to stay on the field enough against this Indiana defense. I think Indiana is going to get enough possessions where I think they could score on. I think they could score on 4 of them. Auburn, Texas A&M. I think this is a great spot for the over. I do actually like Auburn's defense. What I don't like is Auburn going back-to-back road spots. It gets very, very physical Oklahoma team. And now you go directly into a Texas A&M team who just put up 40-plus on Notre Dame 2 weeks ago. Marcel Reed has looked like the real deal. Everybody was kind of worried coming into the season. Is he only a runner? Like, can he only run the ball? He's shown his arm has been great. So I really do like this spot. Auburn's offense has been better than expected as well. I'm not sure. We didn't know what to think coming into the season. But they've looked good. I think 51.5 is just way too low for me. I just projected at 62. So this is over a 10-point difference for me. So that was an easy play. At least I had to play it. Indiana money line, Air Force money line. Just talk about Indiana. Like I said, I think they're out to really just put everybody in their place this season and show like last year wasn't a fluke. Air Force we'll talk about quickly. This is one of those. I think the spread is 6.5. I don't hate playing 6.5 by itself either. This is Hawaii coming to the mainland. Hawaii, this is their 6th straight game as well. And I believe they've gone back and forth from the mainland to Hawaii all 6 weeks. So it's just a tough kind of body spot. They haven't had a bye yet like a lot of other teams have. Fun nugget for you also. Defensive line weight. Hawaii is 118th in the country. Don't ask me. And that's one of those small stats you got to really dig into. And that if you don't have much weight on the defensive line, you don't want to see the triple option. And this Air Force offense has scored over 30 every game. I don't think this Hawaii offense kind of has the explosiveness to keep up. So I really do like Air Force winning this game. So I had them in a money line parlay, but also don't hate the 6.5 that way either. Bama, Georgia over 52.5. Everybody remembers the game last year. Obviously, huge shootout, crazy, maybe the game of the year last year with Ryan Williams, the crazy spin move on the sideline to take the lead. But kind of here is, so this is not your typical Bama, Georgia. We just saw Georgia against Tennessee. Kind of here's some things I wrote down. Both of these teams are outside the top 120 in pass rush, which is never what you would think from Bama, Georgia. They don't have that crazy defensive. When you think of Bama, Georgia over the past, look in the NFL by themselves. Think of all those pass rushers, the defensive ends, the defensive tackles. Look at the Eagles by themselves as half of Georgia's. It's just not the same. And then they're also both in the 90th in defense finishing drives. And basically, for those that don't know what that means, that's like, can you get off the field? Whether you think of third down, and then also it counts red zone also holding to field goals. They've allowed touchdowns. So I don't really love both these defenses. Both quarterbacks are coming into their own. I think Ty Simpson he's gotten bad flack, I think, but everybody looks back to how he played against Florida State, and that's tough. That's also his first road start. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks on their first road start this season kind of struggle. They're getting healthy. James Williams, who hasn't played this year, their starting running back, is back this week. So I think both these offenses are way better than both these defenses. So I think 52.5 was just too low for me. And then last play, BYU team total over 26.5. This is one of those, I think Deion Sanders is going to want to play fast. I was surprised because I think I talked about it with a lot of people. I almost played ECU last week because I thought BYU would struggle because that was like the real first road start for Bachmeier, the freshman for BYU quarterback. They looked like the real deal. And I think especially in that environment, which sounds crazy, the ECU's environment is going to be a tougher environment to play in than going to Boulder this week. So I really do like this BYU team total. I got it at 26.5. I think it's still available at 27.5. So I'd still play it there. I think this is one of those where it's going to be a lot of possessions. This is your Colorado, even though they're not as good offensively, obviously without Shedeur and Travis Hunter, they're still running at a quick, top half tempo in the country. So BYU will get enough opportunities here. Colorado is also, I can almost guarantee they'll turn the ball over twice. So BYU should get it. BYU should get a short field or two. So really like that BYU team total.
3 games tonight before I let you go. The headline of Florida State at Virginia. Listen, I know Tommy Castellanos very well. I work for BC in the home games there. Listen, chip on the shoulder. In comes Alabama, 13-point favorites, a home opener. Florida State just mauled them, and Florida State just has been mauling people. Now you come to Virginia on a Friday night. We haven't seen the Castellanos puke game yet. That line around 6.5 team totals, 34.5, 24.5, 26.5 for Virginia, somewhere in there. I've always had a hard spot with Virginia on these Friday night games. I remember a handful of years. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but I remember a handful of years on a Friday night. Boise State came into town, and I had Virginia every which way but loose. And I think the first score I saw was 24-0 Boise State. Is this a trap game for Florida State?
It can be. And this will take you back in time. Remember, like, you think of one of the biggest upsets in college football history, and Virginia beat that Florida State team with Danny Cannell. I think who was that running back?
Was it Warwick Dunn?
Warwick Dunn, yes, Warwick Dunn. But Florida State went in there and tried to throw the ball 66 times and got beat by Virginia as the number 1 team in the country. It's a super weird spot. Like, the crowd is not crazy. It's just one of those. And it's also, we talk about spots all the time as bettors. Spots matter. And this is the look-ahead game. Florida State has Miami next week. Castellanos is also banged up. He was on the injury report that came out yesterday. They have him listed as questionable. He's obviously going to play. But also, so do I trust him to, like, this number kind of tells you a lot as well, as we mentioned with the Oregon number. The fact that it's stuck around 7, 6.5, when everybody thinks Florida State is so much better than Virginia, kind of says a lot. So this is one I don't like that because there's so many people I like trust that are on the Virginia side of things, just because of this Friday night game. I had Florida State team total written down, but I also don't know Castellanos dealing with that injury and everything with having Miami next week. I don't know how much, if they get ahead, I don't know how much he plays in the second half, or how much if he just turns around and hands the ball over the whole second half and say, let's get out of here and let's get back home and let's start worrying about Miami next week. So yeah, this is one of those where I'm going to look stupid. It's one of those I can feel it both ways, where it's like I'm going to look so stupid for not taking Florida State minus 6.5 when they win like 42-6 or something like that. But I actually do trust Tony Elliott to put up some points for Virginia. I mean, look at, like, people say Clemson fans weren't worried about losing him. But look at that Clemson offense the last couple of years after losing Elliott to Virginia. And Virginia's offense has been better than expected. They have a quarterback who's in his 7th year. So he's not going to be, there's nothing he hasn't seen yet. So yeah, this is a complete stay away from me, because this does scream trap game. I think Florida State wins. But this is one of those where I can see Florida State winning by 40, or it coming down to the last, like, kind of field goal where it's like a 40 to 38 type game.
Last question this week. Is it time for Dabo to leave?
No. I actually think this might not be terrible for him. I think the season might be a wake-up call, to be honest. And it's one of those where it's like he's been so stubborn about the transfer portal and about NIL. They did a little bit more this offseason with the transfer portal, but it's like the best guy he brought in was the defensive end from Purdue, was the best player they brought in. Still not willing to give out a ton of NIL money. They have the best I still think it's the best receiving core 3 in the country. Cade Klubnik has somehow fallen off a cliff all of a sudden. But I don't know what so I think, if anything, this should be a wake-up call. I think you look back at Clemson's history before Dabo got there, it's like, do you guarantee if you're Clemson, if you let Dabo walk, are you guaranteed that you're getting somebody better than him? Because I still think he's a top 5 coach in the sport. Like when it comes to like football by itself, is a top 5 coach in the sport. I think this season might be a wake up call for where he adapts more to NIL, where he adapts more to kind of the transfer portal. Because I guarantee if they let him walk, Florida is calling quickly. It could be Ole Miss if Lane goes to Florida, they would call quickly. Their teams would be so fast to go hire him because of how good of a coach he is. Like I said, and I'll say it again, I think it's more of a wake up call where it's like, hey, I can't keep doing these things the old way. I have to adapt kind of to the new way of college football.
Well, it's funny because, again, you're as good as your quarterback, especially in today's football with the NIL and the transfer portal. He shined with Deshaun Watson. He shined with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And this was the year. I drank the Kool-Aid, Clemson national champs, Kate Klubnik. For Heisman. And I think the other thing that most experts didn't have before the season started, how deep this ACC conference is. You got the likes of Miami. You got the likes of Florida State. Oh, by the way, there's Louisville. And the one team that not enough people are talking about and better start talking about is Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I agree. My only worry about Georgia Tech is, Haynes King can't keep running the ball 27, 30 times a game. He's not going to survive. And I do agree with you. I don't know about the full depth of the ACC, but I'm with you on it. It's a lot like the top half of it, though, is a lot better than what people expected. I don't think it's obviously easy to say, like, it's like you look at the brands and you see Miami, you see Florida State, and you see Louisville, and you're just like, okay, I can understand why these teams are good. But they weren't, like, they're all better than what we expected. Like, nobody thought Florida State was going to rebound from a 2-10 team and look like a top 5 team in the country. Miami was expected to be a top 10, 15-ish, but now they look like possibly the most well-rounded team in the country. Yeah, you mentioned Louisville, who I still like. SMU, I'm still okay with, even though they've lost a couple close games this year, but they're not going to be an easy game for anyone. So yeah, I'm kind of with you, but I don't know. If I'm Clemson, if I'm the AD and kind of their board, I would be very careful. It's still a guy who's won the ACC 8 of the last 10 years. He was in the playoffs last year, and they were like 2 plays from beating Texas in that game. So it's like, hey, if you care for what you wish for, if you get rid of him.
And it's kind of comical because after Alabama laid an egg opening week, again, they already wanted to fire DeBoer, and Clemson's already saying it, hey, we've won 8 titles in the last 10 years. We've won a couple national championships. Go ahead. You want to fire me? Go ahead. Who's coming to replace him?
Yeah, his worst season is 8-4. Like, think about that. Think how many schools would love, like, just for their average to be 8-4, or like their best season to be 8-4. So it's like I said, careful what you wish for, because like he's a top 5 coach in the sport, and I don't know who they think is going to replace him that will be better. He does need to adapt, though, for sure.
As always, go follow Nick on X at Hathcoat413. You can catch his work at the NCAA Insiders. So we always wrap up our segments here. Tell them what else you got.
Yeah. Also, our Insiders FB is our Twitter handle for all the college football stuff we do. We separate it from our baseball. Obviously, NCAA Insiders is our main kind of feed, but we're trying to kind of keep that to our college baseball, which is our main sport. But so all the college football stuff is on Insiders FB. That's where you'll see plays from me, Matt, Smitty, and Q. They're free every week. Like I said, I've been hot lately. We're on good streaks right now. So it's a good week. Like, I have to post in a little bit. We've all added some bets to what I posted earlier in the week, the early plays. I'm about to post those on there. So it's kind of a free spot, and we're still running the Discord. It's the exact same Discord that everybody had for our college baseball. Now everybody's just talking college football in there. Free to join. It's on our website. Obviously, collegebaseballinsiders.com. You can click there. It's also pinned at the top of our NCAA Insiders Twitter feed. So you can join that both ways. Like I said, everything football-wise is completely free. And
last, I'll go over it one more time. Knicks NCAAF Nuggets, Notre Dame, Arkansas, over 61.5. LSU money line plus 106. Indiana team total over 27.5. Auburn, Texas A&M over 51.5. A money line parlay with Indiana and Air Force. Alabama, Georgia over 52.5, and we close out with BYU team total over 26.5. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Nick Hathcoat at N Hathcoat 413. Wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Stay in your lanes. Super amazing weekend of sports. The last 3 days of the MLB, the Ryder Cup, college football on Saturday, NFL on Sunday. Guys, enjoy yourself. Stay tuned.